Hey all, I thought I would do a little thing on a concept called the flat five substitute. It's just kind of a cool little chordal thing to do, and basically one way to think about it is this: a dominant chord, like a 5 to a 1 cadence. A dominant chord contains both the fourth note of the scale it comes from, the key it's in, and the seventh note. And the ear is kind of, our ears are kind of brainwashed to hear, or trained to hear, a resolution that 4 kind of wants to resolve, and so does the 7. The 4 down to a third, half step away, 7 up to a 1, a half step away. And the dominant chord just happens to have those two notes within the major scale, or the key that it comes from. And a flat 5 substitute dominant also contains, even though it's not from the same key, it contains those two notes. A lot of, when you make a key change, you usually have some shared tones and some tones that are not shared, but it contains also those two intervals. And so therefore it kind of gives you that same leading sound. And so for a visual just of the key, let's pick the key of G, A minor 7 being the 2 chord, D, I'm playing D9 and D7, is the 5 chord, which would typically lead back to 1. So now, if I use the flat 5 substitute, first of all, I might want to visualize what a flat 5 looks like. A flat 5, you hear in Jimi Hendrix in Purple Haze. Or the first song on the first Black Sabbath album. Actually do a little trill, but that's a flat fifth. So I'm going to go, my substitute is going to be a flat fifth away from the original 5 chord, the one that's right in the key. So now I'm talking about an A flat in this case. So another good observation to make things even simpler is that flat 5 is just a half step above where I'm headed. So you can think of it as a half step dominant, like it's a half step above. And that goes, you could try this almost anywhere, even leading to a minor chord. I just had a dominant, a half step above. So it doesn't just lead to major necessarily. I'm just trying to stay, though, in one kind of key situation to keep it from getting complicated. So just another way to get home. That's a regular 2-5-1. Or the flat 5 sub. Okay, so another way to look at that is, okay, if I have another dominant chord, that's not in the key of G, so the notes of the key of G. It's right in between two notes, so it's obviously coming from another key. And if it's a 5 chord, where the dominants we tend to think of as 5 chords, then that would be the 1. So now we're talking about D flat, C sharp, whatever key you want to call it, same thing. So that we're temporarily going into that key for a moment, And therefore, if you're soloing, you can go ahead and leave the key of G. In this case, we just pick G. Go to the key of C sharp, and then back when we resolve. So let's maybe play a little bit of that. So. On a loop, you might want to stay on that out chord longer to give yourself some time. So that's enough noodling, but that's a nice little key change for a moment, and it's fun for the soloist too to have somewhere else to go rather than just staying modally, just staying in one key area. So we said that the dominant chord has both the 4 and the 7 of the key. Well, the 4 of the key of G is C, and the 7 of the key is, in this case, we're on F sharp. And so those two notes in my, this is just a dominant chord, I'm playing a different one. I was playing a 9 before, it's just an extra color. But both those notes are in the dominant chord, and your ear definitely wants to hear those resolve. I resolved the 4 of the key to the 3 and the 7 of the key to the 1. Now, if we look at this, here's your two notes again. This is the 7 and the 4 of the key of G. We said they're both in that chord. Okay, well, I'm going to switch to the substitute. Those same notes are there. There are shared tones between the two keys, and that's why the flat 5 sub works. It's because you're still using those two tones, and you're hearing them resolve. So again, it's a really neat concept, and you can use it almost anywhere. Like, just try, like, randomly. You know you have a home chord, whether it's minor or major. We picked a major key to kind of work with, or even another dominant. It kind of sounds like it wants to go there. So a dominant, a half step above, let's just say a target, a chord that you're heading to. Anytime you want, give that a shot and see what it sounds like in a progression. It's really, it's pretty cool. So thanks for watching. Have fun.